Okay, I need to show you this segment from CNN. It's a panel of people talking about Hillary Clinton's book tour, talking about her apology tour where she doesn't apologize really for anything. It's amazing to watch because they try and couch it in such a way that it will hurt Bernie Sanders and make Hillary Clinton look good, but slowly over the course of the panel you realize that, oh, maybe Hillary Clinton kind of sucks. Still to this day, they're slowly coming to grips with the fact that maybe Hillary Clinton lost this thing for herself.
Almost a year after the 2016 presidential election, Hillary Clinton is taking on her former rival, Bernie Sanders, in her new book. It's called What Happened. In leaked excerpts, which come out next week, the book comes out next week, Clinton writes, his attacks caused lasting damage, making it harder to unify progressives in the general election and paving the way for Trump's crooked Hillary campaign. She also writes about Sanders, quote, he isn't a Democrat. That's not a smear. That's what he says. He didn't get into the race to make sure a Democrat won the White House. He got in to disrupt the Democratic Party. Back now with the panel.
So that clip there sets it up. They're setting up the show and they're kind of couching it in like, Bernie's not a Democrat, right? Even he says he's not a Democrat. He wasn't a Democrat. He didn't want to win the presidency. He just wanted to hurt the Democratic Party, which, of course, utter bullshit. It's like, yes, Bernie has said for years in his Senate career that he is an independent, but in order to get on the debate stage, you have to fucking say you're a Democrat. In order to get any of the help from the DNC, which we now know is rigged, you have to say you're a Democrat. So yeah, Bernie did say he was a Democrat during the election in order to get the issues out there, in order to actually run a legitimate campaign that's not undermined at every step. Now, it was still undermined, but maybe not as much as, say, a Green Party candidate. Furthermore, the reason he's calling himself a Democrat is because the Democrats aren't fucking Democrats anymore. They're Republicans, right? Hillary Clinton is a Republican. They are fucking Republican.
Paul, what do you make of this, that she is essentially pointing the finger at Bernie Sanders for the sort of paving the way for the crooked Hillary idea?
Paving the way for the crooked Hillary? A meme that went viral. You paved the way by being fucking crooked! Do you think it would have stuck if you weren't corrupt, if you didn't have business dealings around the world, if the Clinton Foundation wasn't a fucking scam, if you and your husband didn't have 7 goddamn shell companies in order to hide your income?
Paving the way for the crooked Hillary idea.
In that respect, okay, it's a multi-hundred-page book. Let's see the rest. They did already leak one excerpt where she says completely, this is on me.
We're not covering the one sentence where she said it's on me. Instead, we're talking about the hundreds of pages where she said it's not on me.
But he did bring a lot of people into the fray, into the process, and which is good. But he also, I think, gave a lot of people the ability to not have to vote for a Democrat, to not support her.
Oh, Bernie gave the voters the option to not support Hillary. God forbid. How dare he? Yeah, that's what he did. He gave us an option outside of Hillary Clinton. That is exactly what he did. And thank fucking God he did, so that people didn't have to vote for fucking Satan herself. This woman is lamenting the fact that Bernie gave voters a choice.
Part of the problem is that
she
got a general election opponent who was somewhat stylistically like Bernie Sanders. I mean, in the sense that he's a populist nationalist. If she had been running against Marco Rubio, then it might have been different. She would have won. But instead, she got this guy who could hit her from the populist left, in a sense.
Yeah, and by the way, her point about the Bernie Bros is absolutely true. I can show you a slew of insults that I got from them. And so I think in that way, her point about lasting damage to the party, in that there were people who didn't vote for Trump but didn't vote for her, I think could be put on Bernie's lap.
As these other commentators are slowly realizing, like, oh, Bernie kind of had a point. Oh, you know, he did say some positive, you know, some great things for the working class people. She has to come back in and say, well, it hurt the party. He hurt the party. Yeah, you know what hurt the party? The fact that it doesn't fucking stand for anything. The fact that it is for Wall Street, for oil and gas. Fucking never mentions climate change. It was creating the Trans-Pacific Partnership. This is a party that stands for nothing except the same shit the Republicans are doing. So you think Bernie's the one that hurt the party by coming in and telling the fucking truth?
It's very early.
There's
very
an ideological split in the Democratic Party, but that's not what this is about. This is about the individual flaws of Hillary Clinton as a candidate. I mean, I think she's absolutely right that this caused lasting damage to her, but what Bernie Sanders and his campaign did was they saw her vulnerabilities and they took advantage of them. That's just what you do in politics.
Yes, that is just what you do in politics. Thank you for that. However, she's still kinda couching it in softer terminology. He found Hillary Clinton's vulnerabilities. Our vulnerabilities. You mean the fact that she was a fucking corrupt, non-human type individual? Some sort of weird monster with a fake human mask? The fact that she was a creature out of They Live? Is that what you're talking about? Her vulnerability? She's a war hawk that has been bombing, and she encouraged bombing in Syria and Libya. She laughed about it. We came, we saw, he died. That's like sitting around and having a discussion. Unfortunately, He-Man came out and pointed out Skeletor's vulnerabilities. The Avengers really pointed out Ultron's vulnerabilities. I think it's Ultron. Did I get that name right? I don't know. Sounds familiar. Maybe not. Although, didn't he want to get rid of the human race because we were awful? So he might have had a point. Ultron 2020 is what I'm here to say.
The idea that somehow isn't fair, I mean, I would love to hear what the Barack Obama 2008 campaign would have to say about it somehow not being fair to beat up on somebody in a primary.
Molly, she doesn't use that word. I agree with everything you said except that last sentence.
Right.
Politics ain't beanbag. And they didn't even run any negative ads against each other. This is a completely clean primary, if you ask me. And so I have no problem with
But the thing that I have been hearing from the Clinton people that I think is still a little bit of a blind spot is this idea that someone else made people not like Hillary Clinton. People didn't like Hillary Clinton. It was a pre-existing condition for her. And for whatever reason it was, that is something that her opponents took advantage of. But it's not something that they engineered.
Unfair. She's simply saying the fact.
And
Bernie's attacks caused lasting damage. It's true. By the way, did you see what Mr. Trump's opponents said about him? Rick Perry called him a cancer on conservatism. Gee, what's Rick Perry doing for a living now?
But we're talking about Hillary. We're talking about Hillary.
And I'll say such a forgiving guy.
This is what happens in
If we take this excerpt, and granted it is an excerpt, and it's probably going to be a big book and all that, but if you take this excerpt, this is kind of part and parcel of the problem with Hillary. It looks like somebody who doesn't, who isn't willing to accept that they're responsible.
We're getting a little too much truth in there. That's a real problem. This is part of the problem with Hillary. Did he just say that? The panel is starting to... this is not looking good for Hillary. Well, I guess, when it gets to this point, what do? You got to have 7 other people all jumping at once so nobody can hear what the fuck's being said, so that all the viewers walk away thinking, I don't know what kind my head's fucking spinning. I don't really know what was said.
That they're responsible for it. Everybody says, I know it's my fault, but let me tell you, if it hadn't been for Bernie Sanders.
No, but she completely has
and it just clears the viewer's mind of anything they were starting to register about how this system has to change, about how we live in a fucking corporate totalitarian state. Hey, maybe the two parties are kind of the same. Maybe they both want war and Wall Street and exploitation, and maybe they're not doing anything about climate change. Maybe they like oil and gas, and maybe they're fine with all of that, and maybe Big Pharma kind of owns both of them.
But I do think that there is a very legitimate frustration, and you see it in this excerpt, and you'll probably see it more in the book, in that she couldn't go all out on Bernie Sanders the way that he went all out on her.
What the fuck are you talking about? The WikiLeaks emails showed us just the levels they would go to fucking rig this thing, to go after him in every way, to call him a socialist. They undermined his campaign at every stop, whether it was insults or it was rigging the fucking thing. The exit polls aren't matching up. In California, they're handing out fucking provisional ballots like placebos. Bernie would have won California if they had actually had a legitimate vote. So to act like she wasn't going all out on him, she fucking went all out on him, and the only reason that she couldn't insult him at times in certain ways was because she knew she's far more corrupted than he is. If she insults him about anything, she just looks worse. If she says, you don't really stand for the working people, well, who stands less for the working people than Hillary? If she says something about Wall Street, who's more in bed with Wall Street than Hillary?
She couldn't go all out on Bernie Sanders the way that he went all out on her. Right?
Did he go out all on her? Because, I remember in one of the debates I moderated him saying, I don't care about your damn emails.
There's another excerpt where she says, basically President Obama wouldn't let me.
Right, exactly.
That's, again, passing the buck. It's
no,
not
but
acceptable.
it's one of the issues that she talks about.
But there are millions of people that voted for Hillary. I mean, excuse me, millions of people voted for Sanders. They call themselves Democrats. She just said you're not Democrats. I mean,
he said she is saying that about him.
Yeah.
He says that about himself.
Right.
He's not a Democrat today.
To be continued when the book comes out. Up next.
All those people that voted for Bernie Sanders, is she calling them not Democrats too? Because she's saying he's not a Democrat. Does that mean all the people that voted for Bernie Sanders are not Democrats? Oh, maybe that means millions of people across this country don't get behind the Democrats anymore because the Democrats are fucking Republicans and the Republicans are fucking Red Skull or some shit. I'm big on the Avengers analogies right now. But, basically, he's getting to the point that millions of people across this country realize they liked whatever the fuck Bernie Sanders was talking about rather than the corporatist, fucking materialist, consumerist, capitalist destruction of our planet via the Democrats. That's all I got for you today. But guys, we are being suppressed. We are being hurt by YouTube and Google and Facebook's assault war on alternative voices. So if you want to keep up with what I'm doing here, if you want to help it out, if you want to help it grow, then there's two things you can do. One is by sharing it, just fucking get it out there on, even on Facebook and those things that are kind of suppressing our content, but even elsewhere, email it to somebody. The other thing you really have to do is follow my stuff or redacted stuff on other platforms. Via email is the most important. You can sign up at leecamp.com or by texting the word redacted to 444-999. We are in basically a war against alt media that's being perpetrated against me and so many others by YouTube, Facebook, and Google, the monopoly of social platforms. And so I hope you'll follow us through other venues. All right. Keep fighting.
In the United States, copyright law allows for the fair use of copyrighted material under certain limited circumstances without requiring permission from the owner. Under the law, determinations of fair use take into account the purpose of the use, the nature of the copyrighted work, the amount and substantiality of the work used in relation to the work as a whole, and the effect of the use upon the potential market for the copyrighted work. Other jurisdictions may have similar copyright provisions protecting fair use or fair dealing. If you are uncertain as to whether a specific use qualifies as a fair use, you should consult a qualified copyright attorney.
You have the right to take it down.